Right, everybody, here we go again. Another episode of Beat the First Man with me, Reedy. Coming up on this week's show, we have a brand new feature called Easy Like Sunday Morning, which you will love. Kian's back with another listen up, and it's an absolute banger from a mega band. We've got Ted's Little Knob of the Week, find out who wins that, and find out in Road to Wemberlee, did the boys from Tor Point let us down? But for now, roll the titles. Yes, so here we go then. Episode 61 of our silly little show, and incredibly still going and hurtling towards the big 100. If you are new to the show, welcome on board the BTFM bus. Couple of little things you need to do. The first one, mega important. Please make sure you click the subscribe down below, such as that. If you watch it a bit longer, you'll get to realise that I get me that and that the wrong way around. Make sure you ring the little bell, then you'll never miss another episode. It will drop in your feed automatically. And of course, at the end, get involved. Leave some comments below what you think. Did you agree with Ted's Little Knob of the Week? That sort of thing. And those are great. Those are just little pats on the head for me, which we always like. So let's get started. Oh, and don't leave me the dodgy links. There's a few of those going in the last couple of weeks, and thankfully I found out how to get rid of those. But yeah, no dodgy links. Anyway, the part of the show where I test your age deduction skills that we like to call How Old. So simply put, I'll pick up a picture of an old footballer. All you got to do is guess how old he was when the photo was taken. As always, simple. Except it's not. So this week it's back to Italy, and a place we've not been to for a while, and a man who had quite a slow start to his career at Atalanta, where he actually struggled to make the breakthrough. It was only when he moved to Ascoli that he really found a home. Over the course of 10 seasons, he made 212 appearances for Ascoli, and he helped the club rise all the way from Serie C up to Serie A. Quite impressive, I hear you say. That's quite impressive, Freedy. As his days at Ascoli drew to a close, though, he managed to find a new home at Civitanavese. I apologise now to my Italian viewers if that's wrong. I'm not saying it again. He spent an eventful 4 seasons. He won 2 promotions and suffered 2 relegations. You do the maths, you can probably work out what happened. Now, all that is very interesting, but as always, what we want to know is when this photo, Giuliano Castoldi, was taken. How old was he? Answer to be revealed later on this show when, as always, Ted will be along for his weekly guess. So the boys from Stoke Gabriel, talk about a frustrating week they have had. Last Saturday they faced high-flying Ivybridge, who were sitting 3rd in the table, and they went down to a 3-2 defeat, so agonisingly close to getting a point. In midweek they faced Plymouth Mahon, our old pronunciation favourites. Await the illiteracy police on Twitter, I'm sure they'll be about. And again, it was an agonising 1-goal defeat, going down 2-1. This weekend, it's another home match, and I've got a feeling the balcony will be bouncing. This is the game. So it's Crediton United at home. A win is incoming. You heard it here first. Only goal difference keeps us bottom of the table. A win would actually get us in touch with the sides just above the bottom 2. So Stoke Gabriel and Torbay Police at home to Crediton United on Saturday. Come on, boys, you can do it. Got every faith in you. Dennis, fire them up, come on. Anyway, the new feature, Easy Like Sunday Morning. There might even be a little jingle for this in a couple of weeks. I think you can probably guess how it'll go. Anyway, so Sunday morning football. It was the stable diet of many a footballer over the year, and it's something that does seem to be dying away, sadly. And the youngsters of today, the youth of today, just aren't ever going to experience what Sunday morning football was all about. So for those ones that aren't going to experience that, I'm bringing it back for you. So these are things which genuinely will all have happened during the day in Sunday morning football. So how we're going to begin? Let's start with one of my favourites, and it's the old classic half-time team talk. So let's start. Half-time, you're 5-0 down. This is not unusual in Sunday morning football. When you get a ragtag bunch of players that come together, most have been on the piss all night the night before, 5-0 down at half time is not unusual. You would gather round. There would be a few exceptions. There would be a couple taking a piss over in the nearest hedge. There'd be a couple having a fag. But eventually you'd all gather back round. And whoever was responsible for team talks would come out with this gem. So remember, it's 5-0. Okay, don't lose sight of the fact we're 5-0 down. Lads, come on, this lot of shit. Yes, 5-0 down, and he's just playing this lot of shit. Quite a common thing. They're rubbish. Another one, but their shit was the usual one. But what that was then, he didn't leave it at that. No. It was followed up with this little gem. If we get one, we're back in this. Oh yeah, 5-1 that would be then, so I'm not really so sure myself. The rousing words would always end as you were going back onto the pitch. So you'd start strolling back onto the pitch, 5-0 down. All you want is 45 minutes out of the way so you can get in the bar and have a pint afterwards. And he'd say, lads, honestly, they're knackered. Start fast. Come on, boys. So you go out. It would inevitably end in an 8 or a 9-0 defeat. You might get a consolation goal and it'd be 7 or 8-1, whatever. But anyway, in the change rooms afterwards, the same man who's been telling you that they're shit would be telling you that they're going to win the league and they're the best side we've played all season. That is Sunday morning football in a nutshell. Next week, it will be pre-match rituals on Easy Like Sunday Morning. So tune in and hear about some of the classic pre-match rituals, including a very famous pickup spot. So guys, if you've played Sunday morning football, been involved in Sunday morning football, leave your memories down below. Let's get some more. Sunday morning football was a beautiful, beautiful thing, and I'm so glad to be bringing it back to the screens just for you guys. So the pitter-patter of tiny paws can only mean one thing. The part of the show where I get upstaged, as always, by a teddy bear. So how are we, Ted? Not too bad, Reedy. Just digesting all the information from the budget. The budget, Ted. You've been paying interest in the budget. Of course, Reedy. I mean, the most interesting aspect for me, I won't lie, was the statement that said that borrowing as a percentage of GDP is forecast to fall from 7.9% this year to 3.3% next year. What? That's dead interesting, Ted. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I can hardly contain my excitement. Reedy, maybe politics is the route to head down. That'll get people talking. Ted, I'll leave you this thought. I would genuinely rather shit in my hands and clap than come on here talking about politics or produce a politics podcast. Quite frankly, it's just shite. Not a fan then, Reedy? No, Ted, it's boring. Even that old red suitcase bores me. It's clearly only got an apple and a newspaper in it. I see, Reedy. Best I cancel that book about politicians I was planning on getting you for Christmas. Best you do, Ted. Anyway, have we got any nominations for this week's Ted's Little Knob of the Week? I mean, what could you possibly find from a weekend when Man United lost 5-0 at Liverpool? Well, Reedy, believe it or not, old Ole has dodged the bullet. This week, or should we say knob, we are heading to sunny Spain. Ronald Koeman for managing to get himself sacked at Barcelona? Nah, Reedy, this is much better. Oh, okay, well, who have we got then? Well, you know Luis Suarez? What, bitey man from Uruguay? Yeah, well, it's not him. Brilliant, Ted. Who is it then, if it's not him? Well, it goes to the other Luis Suarez, the one from Colombia who plays for Granada. Gotcha, Ted. All over this. This was beautiful. So in La Liga earlier in the week, Granada were up against Getafe and they were awarded a penalty. And our man, the Colombian Luis Suarez, not to be confused with the bitey man from Uruguay, he stepped up to take the spot kick. Now, due to the old YouTube copyright rules, I can't show you the video, but I will put a link on the socials so you can see the video. But here's a still picture of where the penalty ended up. Couldn't see it? Let's try again. This time, look up above the crossbar and there's a little round circle where the ball has been circled. That should help you see it. Try again. Yes, that's how high it went. Now, actually, I think it's incredible to get that ball that high from 12 yards out. It's quite an impressive, it's a skill. I think it deserves an award, Ted. I'm not going to lie. He's getting an award. You're right, Ted, he is getting an award. So Luis Suarez, not the bitey Uruguay man, the Colombian penalty taker, Sadly for you, mate, you are this week's Ted's Little Knob of the Week for, quite frankly, the worst penalty I have ever seen. So you're back later then, Ted, to guess our old Italian footballer? Oh, yes, Reedy. Another lie. See you then. Oh, okay.
Lookalike EE.
Aha. The tune, there it is. The dulcet tone means it's time for another brilliant Lookalike EE, where we find a famous footballer and who exactly in the world they look like, whether it be from showbiz, whatever. Anyway, this week we head to Paris, and a man who was part of the three-pronged attack spearheading the PSG march to glory. And it turns out he looks a little bit like a film star, stroke superhero. So here is this week's
Lookalike EE.
There we go, Kylian Mbappe and Michelangelo of the Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, frankly, that is why you come to watch this shit, isn't it? Let's be honest. Kylian Mbappe, Michelangelo, Lookalike EE. Perfect. Come back for another belter next week. Anyway, so you may recall coming into last week, I had won 3 weeks on the spin. Could I possibly do it again and make it 4 on the bounce? Let's find out, shall we? In Dad v Lad, fantasy football. So here we are then, another Dad v Lad fantasy football. So after 3 weeks on the spin of me winning, has Kian managed to turn it back round? Good evening, Kian.
You all right?
Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice we're not on Zoom. We're in the same room. Look, I can touch him. Yes, we're filming it live in the same room, live. So, fantasy football, how did it go last week? Well, the bad news is he won.
Not bad, really.
Well, it is bad news, yeah. So it was 52-47. He done me by 5 points. So let's have a look at your points last week then, Key. So who was your star man last week?
It was definitely Salah.
Yeah.
He's got 24 points.
Yeah.
And then after that, they all didn't do very well. Salah just carried me around. And Antonio helped again.
Yeah, my team did pretty shit, I'm not going to lie. My my second best scoring player, in fact, Jack Grealish, I left on the bench because I was sulking. He hadn't scored me any points. So, yeah, it wasn't the best of weeks. So let's go on to this week's team. So have you made any transfers, Keith?
I have. I've made 2.
All right, okay. So who have you got rid of and who have you brought in?
So if we go on last week's point, I got rid of Connor Cody. He's gone. And I got rid of Lukaku because he's injured.
Right.
And then I've replaced them with Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah.
And that Huang, the one at Wolves.
All right, okay, yeah. So I've also made 2 transfers. So we've both sacrificed some points this week. So Ben White has gone.
Yeah.
I've got rid of him because he's injured. So I've brought in Livramento from Southampton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'd all heard of him at the start of the season, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And I've also got rid of Jack Grealish because he pissed me off. So he pissed me off before last week. He pissed me off even more. But I have brought in Phil Foden as a replacement. So I've got Man City for Man City. So what's your formation for this week then, Keith?
So I'll go for the 4-4-2 again.
Yeah, same, 4-4-2. So I'm in goal. I've got Martinez, West Ham at home. Easy clean sheet, no problem.
That's if I'm active, right?
It's not happening. Who have you got in goal?
I've got Mendy.
Yeah.
And they've got Newcastle away, so I think that's one they should.
Oh, that's a definite clean sheet then. So my back 4, I've got Diaz. They've got Crystal Palace at home. I've got Connor Cody. I've got Everton at home. Pereira of Leicester, who have got Arsenal at home. Although I've just noticed he's got an injured symbol against him. So I might swap him for Dino in a minute.
Yeah.
And then I've got Livramento and they got Watford away. So that's a clean sheet. So who have you got as your back 4?
So I've got Diaz.
Yeah.
Alexander-Arnold, Alonso, but he didn't play last week, so I'm going to give him one more week. If he don't play, he's gone.
Yeah.
And Ben White, I'm risking. I'm going to keep him in.
Right, okay. Well, I have just made that dramatic substitution. So Pereira has been dropped and I brought in Luca Digne, who is away at Wolves. So I've got Connor Cody of Wolves and Luca Digne of Everton in the same back 4. Brilliant tactics.
One of them might keep a clean sheet.
Well, yeah, a 0-0 draw would be spot on. So, midfield, your 4 across the middle then. Who have you got?
I've got Son.
Yeah.
James. He's just cheap, isn't he?
Yeah.
Salah.
Yeah.
And I'm still risking Rafinha, because I think he might play this week.
Well, they've said he's fit. So, if you've got Rafinha in your team, don't panic. He will be playing on Sunday. It's guaranteed. So I've got Salah, Foden, Zaha, and Rafinha as my midfield four. I think my midfield four is looking pretty strong there, I've got to say.
Mine's looking all right, other than James.
Yeah, well, you never know. He's got to do something.
That is true.
Right, and my two forwards, I've dropped Danny Ings, so I've got Ivan Toney because they're away at Burnley, and Jamie Vardy because they're at home to Arsenal, and he always scores against Arsenal.
I've got Antonio, of course.
Yeah.
And then I've got Huang.
Right, okay. So who have you gone as your vice captain?
I've not actually sorted that yet, but looking...
He's got one job.
Looking through, I think it's going to be Salah again.
As your vice captain?
No, as captain, sorry.
Oh, right, okay, so he's your vice captain.
And the vice, I'm going to leave it as Huang.
Okay, well, I've gone Salah as captain because they've got Brighton at home.
Yeah.
Brighton look like the wheels are just beginning to come off the Brighton wagon. And I've gone Foden as vice captain because they've got Palace at home, and he seems to be on a bit of fire at the moment.
Right.
So the overall score, before we head back to the show, let's just have a quick look at the table. So Kian, you are 16th in the league with 494. I am 18th in the league with 480. Very, very close. And we're miles off the top. But let's just have a quick look and see whoever is actually top of the whole thing, shall we? The overall thing. Let's have a laugh. He's got 735 points.
He's got a good team, or?
Gangsters Allardyce. Good team name as well. It's a great team name. Not only is he top of the overall fantasy football team, Daniel Mason Abraham, respect to you for that team name, Gangsters Allardyce. So if you want to copy his team, he's got Ramsdale in goal, Chilwell, Alexander-Arnold and Livramento as a back three, Sarr, Mount, Salah and Rafinha in the midfield, and Vardy, Antonio and Jimenez up front. And on the bench, he's got Sanchez, Tierney, Semedo and Sissoko. He must have about 500 million to spend to get all them in. Anyway, so for now, that is it. So Kian, we'll see you next week. He might be in the flesh next week. You never know. We might do it in the flesh. It might be back on Zoom. But for now, back to the show. So there we have it. Kian strikes back this week with a 52-47 win, meaning the overall gap has now extended to 14 points, but I'm definitely still in there and still fighting. At the top, Gary Hamilton and his Carja Warriors, they still lead the way, but the gap has closed again. He leads now by just 21 points. At the bottom, Trish Barrett and her Waiters Waifs, they've been cut further adrift. And to be honest, I think it's going to be Fantasy Football Championship next season for them, the way it's heading. So, road to Wemberley. The FA Vars action last week. You may recall the boys from Tor Point were entertaining Chipping Sodbury. We did say if they won, we would forgive them for knocking out Stoke Gabriel. So, the big question, did they win? Yes, they did. They didn't let us down. Well done, Tor Point boys. You didn't let us down. A 4-1 win saw them clinch their place in the next round, and they face a trip to Wiltshire to face Wootton Bassett Town away in the next round. This weekend, it's FA Trophy time, and our boys from Dunstan UTS, they're back in action. They entertain Bamber Bridge, looking to make it through to the first round proper of the FA Trophy. Now, possibly some exciting news. It looks like we may have an official representative of Kings Lynn Town on here next week in our FA Cup Road to Wembley feature as we talk about their FA Cup tie against Walsall coming up. So fingers crossed we can get that pulled off. It's looking good. More to be revealed, obviously, next week. But as always, for now, it's Wembley, Wembley. We're the famous Pete the First Man and we're on the road to Wembley. Wembley! Anyway, after Sam Fender and the Skinner Brothers, it's probably time we went and got ourselves another tune. So let's go and find out what Kian wants us to download this week. So without further ado, here's Listen Up with Kian.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another Kian Says Listen Up, and where I'll give you a song to listen to. So this week's I've gone for Alligator by Kasabian. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't really know. But obviously there's loads of questions about whether they could do it without Tom, but I've seen them twice and they've been brilliant, and a new song as well is brilliant. But yeah, go and give that a listen, Alligator by Kasabian. And I mean, I'm not sure we've got many shows left, but if they're playing near you, you can go and watch them because they are ridiculously good live. I mean, Serge, obviously there's loads of doubts of whether Serge could do it if he's the same, but I think they're probably better. Well, not as better, but they've got the same energy live as I heard they had with Tom. Obviously I never saw them with Tom, but yeah. So yeah, Alligator by Kasabian, give it a listen.
There we go then. Alligator by the mighty Kasabian is your listen up tune this weekend. To those who would said they would not be the same without Tom, go and see them and make your own judgment. Don't make a judgment without seeing them. We went on Wednesday night. They were absolutely amazing. And Serge was superb. What a top front man he was. So well done to the boys from Kasabian. Get over and download Alligator. It's a bit different. It needs a few listens, I won't lie. But it's very, very good. So, Lineal European Cups time, and there's been one retention and one change. So, which way has it gone? Having retained the Lineal European Cup last weekend, the boys from Freiburg made it 8 successful title defences in midweek with a scruffy draw with Osnabrück in the German Cup, but enough for them to keep the trophy. They now face a home game against basement side Greuther Fürth. Can they make it 9 defences of the European Cup? Amazing stuff by Freiburg. Keep it going, boys. In the Lineal UEFA Cup, it was all change. Borussia Mönchengladbach, they relinquished the trophy. They lost 1-0 at Hertha Berlin. So Hertha Berlin, then in midweek, won 3-1 at Preußen Münster in the German Cup to make a successful first defence of the trophy. This weekend, they face our old friends, Susanna Hoffenheim. Yes, a game that's in fact being played on Friday night. So by the time this goes out on Saturday morning, you will know whether it's Hertha Berlin or Susanna Hoffenheim who hold the Lineal UEFA Cup. But check out the social media channels. It always goes on there first anyway. Anyway, he's back, which can only mean one thing. It's time for How Old the reveal, the age of the man that we showed you earlier on. Really, this one is nonsense. Why, Ted? He's just a footballer from back in the day. No, Reedy, he runs an Italian pizzeria and every now and then he has a kickabout with his mates on a weekend. Ted, please stop with this stereotyping every time we bring on a different nationality onto How Old. He does not run a pizzeria. He played in Serie A, one of the top leagues in Europe. Trust me, Reedy, that bloke didn't. He might have sold programmes or something. I'm not having it he played in Serie A. So your programme seller, I reckon he's 36 years old. First off, Ted, he was a professional footballer, okay? Secondly, let's see if you're right. So in this photo of Giuliano Castoldi was taken, he was 31 years old. 31, boy, was his paper round brutal. Reedy, end this stupid game. Utter nonsense. 'Tis true, Dad. That was the Italian boy's age, 31. Boy, are you kidding? He could have granddads when he was that age, the way that when that photo was taken. Anyway, I'm going now. See you next week. Okay, Ted. See you next week. There we go then, people. The end of another packed show for you. 61 down now, with hopefully a little something in there that made you smile, if nothing else, and took your mind off everything going on in the outside happy world that we live in. Remember, if you are new on board the BTFM bus, please click the subscribe down below. Make sure you come back for more. More importantly than that, don't forget to click the little bell, because then you'll never miss it. It'll drop in your feed automatically. But for now, though, it's ding ding. Next stop, Saturday the 6th of November for what will be episode 62. But as always, people, for now, stay safe, guys.